What's up, everybody? It's Jerad with Ditch Auto. Welcome to week 6 of the Ditch Auto Photography Challenge. Man, this has just been so much fun, and I say that every week, but it is super cool to get into the Ditch Auto Facebook group and see some of the stuff that you guys are coming up with, see some of the challenges that you guys are having, and also just how we're all able to work through this together and try new things with our cameras, get out there, take new photos. It's just been super cool. So week 6, we're going to be talking about high-key photography. Now, high-key photography usually has to do with lighting, and that can work in a lot of different ways. The idea of the key light in your photo, or when you're taking a picture, the key lighting is usually the most brightest form of light in whatever direction that's coming from. Now, if you have lighting, if you have a flash or something like that, and you want to use lighting in this, you totally can. If you don't have any flash lighting or any strobes or anything like that, it's totally fine. You can use high key by going outside and positioning your subject or your point of interest in the shade and using the sun to blow out the background or to give it that high key, that really bright light kind of surrounding look. It's a very simple process. It really just takes a little bit of thinking, like how am I going to position, what kind of subject am I going to use, and where am I going to find maybe some shade versus some bright light. And that may be a little challenging because, we're all from different weather climates. I know that this last week we've had some pretty decent weather where I'm at, but for pretty much the duration of this challenge so far, it's been gross and nasty outside for me. So I haven't been able to really get outside and do too much with photography because of how the weather has been. But that's okay. It doesn't necessarily matter. You don't have to get outside and do this. You can take some shades off of some lamps and put them up. One of my favorite examples of high-key photography is my wife when she's taking pictures of some of the things that she finds. She has an Instagram shop where, she goes out and finds, these vintage things, and she sells them online. But I made this really basic photography background years ago, and she's still using it, and she takes lampshades off and uses lampshades to light the photo, and it's extremely creative. It makes for a high-key image, and it works out really well. And I feel bad because in my studio I have all of this equipment that she could be using, but she's at home using just the bare minimums, taking lampshades off to get more bright light, and using a background that I made out of some corrugate a while back, and it's just, works out perfect for her. So in all situations, there is a way to make this challenge happen. What you really need to do is just start to think about, what kind of subject am I going to use? Am I going to use a person? Or am I going to use, something else? Maybe you have a big statue in the town that you're in, or some sort of monument or landmark that you can use, and you can wait until it's really backlit by the sun, and you can blow that out in a certain way, making it really high key with the sun or the light is wrapping around it. Or you can go with a portrait, wait for a nice kind of bright light situation outside, get a subject or something kind of maybe underneath a tree with tree branches, and maybe there's an opening where light is spilling in, and you can take that picture and wrap that person in light. Or, if you have some lighting or you have something you want to get creative inside with some lighting, you can go high key that way. If it is really bright, you could position a person or a subject or something by a window, let that really bright light spill in and kind of wrap that subject. Or you can even position them kind of up against the window with the light spilling in behind them. There's just a lot of different ways to do high key photography. You just have to look at the light and say, okay, how can I get that light pouring into my scene in a way that it fills around the subject or the point of interest that is going to be filling your scene. So that's what I want to go for with this week's challenge. It's going to make for, last week we had negative space, and it was really cool to see the way that everybody positioned things within a shot. And in this week's challenge, you're probably going to be maybe more zoomed in. These might be portraits. These might be still life or something like that. But you're going to be maybe zoomed in a little bit more and filling in whatever negative space you have with really bright light somehow. So feel free to get creative. Like I've said in past weeks, if you go to Flickr or if you go to 500, you go to these different websites where there are lots of photos being uploaded and you do a search for high key or something like that, you can get a lot of great ideas. I try to show a couple examples of my own photos, but I don't always have a lot in some of these areas myself. So it takes me getting out there and doing these challenges as well, along with the rest of you, to kind of add to my portfolio as well. So go online, do some searches, look around, and see if you could even be inspired by some other people. You totally don't have to come up with original ideas here in this challenge. You can definitely replicate, something that somebody else has done. And when I do that, my typical hard and fast rule is if I'm doing like a replication, if I'm trying to replicate what somebody else has done, I always try to give them credit just to say, here's the inspiration for the photo. So keep in mind that that's totally possible and acceptable in this challenge. We do not have to come up with something brand new. I'm a firm believer that nothing really is new under the sun anyways. So we're all taking something that we've seen and being inspired by it and recreating it in one way or another. Even if we think we're being completely original, chances are somebody has done something similar, and that's totally cool and totally fine. So I look forward to seeing all of your photos this week in the Ditch Auto Facebook group. Remember that we do have our Ditch Auto Facebook group. That's where we all communicate, talk about our photography, ask questions, share life with each other in the context of photography, and then upload our photos. I have in the links below in the description of this video a link to the Ditch Auto Facebook group. I have a link to the Week 6 Challenge photo album for you to upload your photos into. So as you decide which photo you want to share, or maybe you have one or two photos you want to share with us, you can upload them to the album. There's a link down below as well to that. And then if you have not taken the Ditch Auto course, the free course that I produced on how to get out of auto and use manual with your camera, learn those manual settings, put it on M, whoops, I'm in movie mode, put it on M and start using manual mode on your camera to take more control. And to be honest, in this week's challenge, it's going to be really hard for you to do high key photography in any other setting other than manual, because otherwise your camera is going to really try and balance that background with the foreground. So you're most likely going to have to be in manual. You're going to have to change some of those settings, and it's going to stretch you a little bit if you're not used to that. So that's cool, because that's what we're here to do in this challenge. We're here to stretch ourselves. We're here to grow and try new things with our photography. So if you haven't, a link in the description below will take you to our Ditch Auto photography course, where you can learn more about those manual settings of your camera so that you can get the most out of this week's challenge. Thank you so much for joining us this week. I look forward to seeing you in the Ditch Auto Facebook group and for the photos that you submit to our Week 6 Challenge High Key Photography. Thanks so much, and we'll see you soon in the Facebook group. Take care.